Welcome to the Grandstand Golf Podcast. This is Kevin Bapty, and as always, I am joined by my brothers Craig.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And Adam.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
So round 3 of the 2020 U.S. Open is in the books. Today we saw Matthew Wolff shoot a spectacular round of 65 to carry a 2-shot lead into Sunday. Bryson had a bit of an up and down day to shoot an even par 70 and sit 2 shots back. Patrick Reed shot back 943 to fall to +3 and 8 shots back of Wolff. Adam, first question, has Winged Foot lived up to the expectations?
I mean, for the most part, yes. I think I'm a little bit disappointed that Matt Wolff went out and got a 65 today. I think that's a little bit lower than probably the USGA and Winged Foot wanted it to be. But he played really well.
I mean, let's face it, though, it's not like that was the score that a lot of guys were shooting. I mean, he played spectacular today.
Well, I think we saw from the first wave that 67 was out there. Alex Noren went and got that. The one thing I'm disappointed at is these guys are mashing it off the tee and they're fine in the rough. They're just absolutely powering it through the rough. So that's a little bit disappointing for me.
Yeah, I do think that Wolff hit some unreal shots out of the rough, and he said at the end of his round that basically he got pretty lucky when it came to his lies, and I think that's with this long rough, you can get absolutely punished, but you also, if it stays, in a sitting up a bit, they can get wedges onto it and they can get them out of there, and they can still land them pretty softly even in the afternoon.
I mean, the rough is never going to be perfectly consistent as far as penalizing players goes. But as far as I'm concerned, it seemed as though if you're in the rough, you were having a hard time holding the green. And that's the key to the rough. Matt Wolff played a lot of beautiful shots where he kind of landed it short and ran it up out of the rough. And that's what you have to do if you find yourself in that situation. So as far as I'm concerned, Winged Foot is living up to its end of the bargain. And some of these players are rising to the occasion.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like
to see the greens are just awesome. They, some of these putts you see where people are bending it, coming in the back door, chipping off of greens to play it over humps, all these awkward little angles. I love everything about that. And I think this is one of those classic US Open courses that we're seeing why it is a classic US Open course.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to make the pin?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd like to see the scoring average closer to 5 tomorrow. And if that's the case where they can run it up through the rough, let's get a little bit tighter pin locations and make it a little bit more difficult.
I think they still have a little bit of flexibility with the pin locations, I was just going to say. And I think they can make it a little bit tougher if they want to.
I disagree a bit, because I think we saw with a bit of wind in the morning, I don't think we want it playing much more difficult than that. And so it died down in the afternoon and scoring reacted accordingly. So it's one of these things where they can do it so much to set up the course, but then if they go too far setting up the course and then the wind blows as well, then it's sloppy and messy, and we're not happy because it's no longer fair. And I think that's what they have to. It needs to be fair on Sunday.
I think that in a U.S. Open, what you want to see is you want the ability for guys who are playing great shots to move up the leaderboard, and guys that are struggling a little bit to fall down. And I think that's exactly what we saw today. Guys who really had control of their golf ball were going out and they were posting red numbers, and guys who didn't were not. I don't think there's anybody.
I disagree. Matt Wolff hit 2 out of 14 fairways.
But
what
do
about
you see
his approach
shots? Like, he missed fairways.
But it shouldn't be. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Let's give Brendan Todd a chance here when he hits the middle of the fairway every time.
Yeah, but did you see his approach shots? Brendan Todd hit it. I think it was 17. He hit it into the bunker from the middle of the fairway.
And Bryson on 17 was in the deep rough and
hit a fantastic shot.
Yeah, well,
so that is it.
I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, we talked about before the tournament started that your scrambling at U.S. Opens is a key metric, and scrambling to me includes your approach shot. If you're out of position off the tee, you need to be able to scramble to at least get a par, and if you hit a very good shot, maybe give yourself a look at birdie. And again, I think that the cream is rising to the top at this point of the course, and I think Winged Foot is doing its part in making sure that happens.
Yeah, I mean, Agree to disagree, I guess. It's a very certain profile that's like rising to the top. It's guys who can absolutely smack it off the tee, and they can also power it through the rough, and
Well, what
that's
about
fine. That's the profile to win.
so what about Zach Johnson and Louis Oosthuizen? I wouldn't say either of those guys are bombers. They both shot a 68 today.
Yeah, and I disagree. I think we had long hitters who went out there. Like I think there's volatility associated with these guys who are not hitting fairways, but it's not like hitting the fairway means you're necessarily losing out. But it makes it a lot harder. And I think it's hard to compare everything to Matt Wolff because he hit unreal shots out of the rough.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of convention to Matt Wolff.
No,
Or
Bryson.
Exactly. So you can't really fit those guys in a traditional box.
Yeah.
I really do think that it's rewarding guys who are not necessarily, I guess, having control of their golf ball off the tee, but are playing the great shots when they need to play great shots and scrambling to make pars when they have to. If you look at Rory's day today, I might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves right now, but Rory today, everywhere he needed to get up and down and make a par, he did, and that's what put him into the position he's in.
Right.
Well, and just one last thing on this. So, I mean, Matt Wolff, so he gained 8.5 strokes essentially today. He didn't even gain a stroke off the tee. He gained over 3.5 on his approach shots. He gained over 2 around the greens and almost 2 putting. So, yeah, his tee shots were all over the place, and that's not where he was playing well. It was all the other aspects of his game.
And you certainly saw guys who were not hitting the fairways and were not hitting quality shots from those positions be heavily penalized for doing so. You look at some of the big names that fell down the leaderboard, and I think that's evidence of that. So,
like JT had a rough day. He couldn't
exactly
control his drive.
Cool. So before we get into the bad, though, maybe let's look at what was good out there.
I was going to say, so what was your guys' favorite moment from Saturday?
Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, well, mine's not very exciting. I was just excited. I was watching a lot of golf early in the morning, and I had Paul Casey as one of my showdown bets for Saturday, and he got off to a very slow start. So I was happy. My favorite moment was when he went birdie, birdie, birdie on the back nine, 11, 12, 13, 14. The other thing I like about that is he kind of showed that a low score is out there. So the guys that are watching, the Wolves, the Brysons, I think can be like, oh, maybe we aren't all going to get punished today. Maybe there's a chance to kind of take some shots back on the back nine, which has been the harder nine. So that was my favorite part of the day. He went out and shot 30 on the back nine. I loved it.
Craig, how about you?
I'd have to say, I think so. I was just trying to look up what hole this was on, but Matt Wolff hit a drive almost down into a hazard on the left. It's around maybe 14, somewhere around there. He hit his drive down into the left. It looked like it was deep stuff, and
Right.
he got some kind of wedge or 9-iron onto it and knocked it to about 8 feet or so. And it's just, I didn't know once he got up there, I didn't know if it was going to, because the closing of this course is so tough, I didn't know if it was going to be kind of 5 is the high mark, and then he's going to come back to, maybe 4, 3, 2 on his way in, but he just kept stiffing all these shots. And it's hard for me to pick one moment of those, but that was really what were my favorite moments of the day.
I also loved his tee shot on 18 where he was going to the rough, hopped in the first cut, hopped in the long stuff, and then hopped back out to the first cut. That was incredible.
That was
Kevin,
incredible.
what was your favorite part?
Well, I mean, I hate to piggyback off Craig here because I thought for sure he was going to talk about Rory, but I loved watching Matt Wolff play himself into contention. He is an exciting young player. I think that I was afraid that this was going to be a Bryson Reed runaway. And, obviously one of my favorite moments might have been Patrick Reed's back nine, but conversely, somebody going the other way, Matt Wolff's front nine was spectacular. He kept making good shots, kept hitting good putts. It was great to see him play himself into contention, and it sets up a very exciting Sunday.
Yeah, and to be honest, so he started the day even, and that's exactly the round that I was expecting from Xander, was to go out and throw daggers and make big putts and all those type of things. But we saw it from Matt Wolff instead.
So, who was your guys' most surprising fall off today? I know before the round started today, we talked about what number might still be in contention. Right. And I think we kind of landed at +3 if they were to go under par, as Rory did today. They could potentially be in contention depending on what the leaders did. But who was your most surprising fall off?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. I think the one for me is Rahm. I was hyping him up on our last podcast. I've been picking him on every DFS show, every kind of betting preview and picks and everything. It's been Rahm for me. He started +1, so he's only one back of Wolff, of Xander, of kind of that group. And he went out and shot 6 over. Completely fell off the broadcast. I mean, they showed little clips of him, but he's out of it. He's tied 31 now. My one and done is in serious jeopardy of getting some points here. And I've used up my pick on Rahm. So he was really disappointing for me today.
Yeah, I'm hurting on that Rahm one and done pick too. So I feel you. I think though that Justin Thomas was the one that surprised me the most. He started the day at 2 under. I thought he was going to be one who, held or maybe moved himself forward a bit. I did not see he was 76 on the day, and I didn't see that one coming.
I was most surprised to see Reed fall off today. Maybe pleasantly surprised, but surprised nonetheless.
Yeah, right, Kev.
I was, as I said, I was a little bit afraid of a Bryson Reed runaway, a little bit like we had in Mexico at the WGC earlier this year. But I don't know where that back nine came from Reed, because he in these situations has not fallen off very often, especially when he gets himself in that position. So to shoot a +7 today, and I believe he was under par going into the back nine on the day. He shot himself. So, yeah. He shot himself out of it without a very low number tomorrow. He's completely out of the running. So that was a shocker to me, but maybe a pleasant surprise.
His back nine was a train wreck.
It was shocking, but I think it's also a good example of the type of thing that Adam is hoping to see from this course, where he was holding it together through 2.5 rounds with duct tape and a short game, and he was not hitting fairways. He was finding ways to get through holes, and then it just all kind of caught up with him all at once there, it seemed. And instead of turning bogeys into pars and whatnot, he was turning pars into double bogeys and all that kind of thing.
I completely agree, Craig, because if 06 taught us anything about this US Open at Winged Foot, is don't turn off the TV if there's a big lead on 18. Like, there's going to be drama till the end, and this course will provide drama till the end.
18 is a fantastic hole. I can't wait till tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's going to be good. So who do you guys think outside of Wolff and DeChambeau can win? Craig, why don't we start with you?
Well, I think we all know who I'm going to talk about, because as you see over my left shoulder here, we went from Rory sad face yesterday to Rory happy face. He went out there in the morning when, he was maybe one of the later ones when the conditions were still a little bit more difficult. The wind was blowing. I think at the end of his round, maybe he got a little bit of the clean weather, but he went out there and shot a 68 when it was, at that point, it was playing about 4 over. So that was, it's tough to say it's as impressive as what Wolff did, but relative to the field that was playing at the same time, it was pretty comparable. And I think if I was DeChambeau or Matthew Wolff, and Rory gets through, because these first 4 holes are so difficult. If Rory gets through those even 1 under, something like that, and then you come out and you make a bogey, you make a double bogey, like all of a sudden that can tighten up so quickly tomorrow. And Rory's a major winner. Like he's the highest one we've got left on the leaderboard. So
Whoa, Louis, man.
oh,
Shots
sorry,
fired.
yeah, I forgot Louis. Louis got in there at 1 under. True. So actually, and maybe we'll talk about Louis, but do you guys know how old he is? Because I was surprised.
46.
So I would guess like
42.
that's about where I was thinking 43. He's 37.
I was way off.
Well, and like I would have thought for sure he was early to mid 40s kind of thing. I mean, that's only a year older than DJ, which it just surprises
That's
me a
actually
bit.
crazy.
It feels like he's been around for a long time.
Well, he won in 2010, I believe. So he was younger at that point than I thought he was.
That was the Open Championship, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm quite a big Louis fan, so I was really happy to see him play himself into contention today.
So do you think
he
has a
is
shot?
yes, I absolutely do. He is my guy. You know, I really like him, and well, as far as who do you think can win besides Wolff and DeChambeau, I think that the next three I see on the leaderboard beneath those guys, Louis Oosthuizen, Hideki Matsuyama, and Xander Schauffele, you could make a nice narrative for each of those guys. And Louis might be the guy. I like Xander a lot too. Both those guys, I think, can do it.
I like both those guys too.
You guys are sledding people all over the place. What, you left out Harris English at even par as well, like just because his name.
I did leave out Harris English, and well, because I'm looking at guys who rose today and guys who slid today. Harris made a beautiful birdie putt on 18 to pull himself back to even, but it was a grind today for Harris. He's really going to have to go out and post something, which I think the other three guys I just mentioned are more likely to do than Harris.
Yeah, so I think the winner will be within the +1. So I think Rory and kind of the better scorers are where we're going to see the winner. I don't think anybody from +2 really has a shot unless something catastrophic happens. My pick is Xander, though. I think he's been kind of the steady Eddie throughout the tournament. He didn't go as low as he wanted to today. He's been in bunkers. It seems like he's been in bunkers every time they show him. But he's just getting up and down.
Are you kidding me? Other than an even par score today, he was 2 over after 3. He was even after 6. He was 2 under after 9. He was all over the place. There's nothing steady about it.
It's Jerry Seinfeld. At the end of the day, it all comes up even.
Even Steven.
So sorry, are you saying you like Xander?
If I'm picking somebody outside Wolff or Bryson, my pick is Xander for sure.
Yeah,
I liked him going in. And, yeah.
I think he's the kind of guy that is going to hit daggers and make putts, and that it's just dangerous. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to do it, but if you're one of those people who feels like you have a lead, he's not someone you want to see in the rearview mirror because he'll come on hard. Like if the other thing about Xander, and I think this. We talked about how volatile it was today. It seemed like every time they were cutting to him, he had tried to hit a really aggressive approach shot and had short-sided himself like half in, half out of a bunker and was hitting like the craziest shots. So it could be that this was the round that he had to survive, which, over the course of a major that you win, sometimes that's the thing you need to get through. Maybe that was Rory's yesterday.
So it sounds like the playing style you're describing there is Phil-esque. How did that work out in 2006?
Well,
going at everything and short-siding yourself.
No, but I think that when you see that in the rear view mirror, like if you're leading, then yeah, it's probably no longer the best idea. But for the type of people who are going to charge, that's the type of mentality they need to have. Yeah. And I still like Hideki. To me, is also a guy. His ball striking can be the best in the field, and so
did you see him shank it?
I did see him shank that. It'd be interesting to know whether that thing just got, because he has a pretty good short game aside from his putting, and so you have to think that rough caught his club in some way.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you guys it sounds like you're both taking Xander, maybe waffling a bit and trying to add Matsuyama to your list there, Craig. I'm going to take
Well, sorry,
Louis.
I have all
I'm
of these
taking
guys
Louis.
in my week-long pick, so I'm going to be pretty happy if any of those guys. I'm taking Rory as my outside.
I'm going to go with Louis. Louis has ice in his veins. He may not strike fear into the hearts of people in front of him, but I'll tell you what, Louis is going to grind and grind and grind, and he will be there at the end of it, I bet.
So, I mean, are we talking about like our straight up win? So that's outside of Bryson and Wolff. Are you sticking with Louis for your straight up?
Well, we'll talk about that at
We'll
the end.
talk, but we're not there yet. Okay.
Okay.
Let's move on. What do you guys see from Winged Foot on Sunday? Do you think that it's going to play harder than today? Not as hard? I'm not sure. I haven't seen the weather conditions for tomorrow.
It looks pretty steady. That wind kind of in the 15, 16, 17, is it miles per hour or kilometers per hour? I forget which side I'm looking at. Anyways, similar to the last couple of days. I think the pin placements will be a little bit tougher. If I had to guess, I'm putting it at stroke average about 5 over par, closer to Friday conditions, I think, than what we saw on Saturday. That's kind of where I'm thinking. I think these guys want to see the leaders move back a little bit and maybe jam up the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think if we get wind, then somewhere around 5. But if not, I think, maybe an average around 3.
So you guys are talking about 70, 75, 73 when you say 5 and 3, right? Yeah, okay.
So yeah, over par.
Okay.
But I think that, unless the wind picks up, I don't think it'll get to Friday kind of numbers in terms of scoring. But I think it's going to be exciting because you could do what Rory did today. Like one of these people at 2 or 3 say, if they go out there and they post and someone gets in at 1 under, 2 under, like you can't get home safely. So it's a little bit different than these tournaments where, even though par is irrelevant, everyone's playing the same course. It's the only way we can keep track of where people who are on different holes are relative to each other. So when we have someone out there that has posted a -1 or a -2, and these people need to come in and play those bogey holes over the last little bit, I just love that shaky drama that it causes.
For sure.
Yeah, it's definitely the opposite of a lot of tour events where you see the last few holes. If somebody posts, that the last few holes are birdie holes. These ones are not. You can make birdies. If you look at Bryson today, he birdied 16, 17, but then, missed a par putt on 18 to give one back. So anything's in the cards, which is fun to watch as you come down the stretch on Sunday for sure.
Yeah.
I am a little bit surprised to hear you guys talking about 2 and 3 guys at 2 and 3 right now posting though, because you just said they don't have a chance. So
well, Adam said that. I do think one guy at 2 who I would be afraid of if he does go out and get hot is Victor Hovland, because
with your boy Rafa.
Oh no! So
he
Victor
is going
Hovland.
Victor all the way. Come on.
I know.
I don't know if you guys. They've shown a couple random clips, but he has been hitting the ball well. He's the only one probably this high who's actually lost putt, except maybe Hideki, but lost strokes putting on the week. He has been playing better than his score reflects, and he's been leaving them in the jaws, and he should be, I think, a little bit better than +2. And so if that comes together and he shoots a 66, you never know.
Adam, what about your boy Thomas Pieters?
Yeah, so if you want to talk about losing strokes putting, let's look at Thomas Pieters.
I saw his from today. That's an ugly number.
He made the broadcast late when, it was 4.5. He made the broadcast late because he kept firing at pins, having 4 feet for birdie, and then just settling for par over and over and over again. He can go low. I don't think there's a realistic shot for him to get. I think you have to be around at least 2 under.
So what do you think the winning score is going to be tomorrow then?
So I think those guys need to get to 2 under. The winning score is going to be 3 under.
So you just think that Bryson needs to go and shoot a 70 tomorrow is what you're saying?
If we're going into who our pick to win is,
I think do that. 2 under. I think it's going to be 2 under.
Yes, let's go into our pick to win.
They're going to move back.
Okay, Craig, we're starting with you. Who's your pick to win?
His heart's telling him Rory, but his brain is struggling. There's an internal battle happening right here.
No, I'm gonna go off the chalk, and I'm gonna say Hideki.
Ooh.
I think Hideki goes out there, and I think he hits the ball well, and I think a few of them drop. I mean, he could go out there and three putt the first three holes and be out of the tournament, but he also could be the guy that charges. So I'll say Hideki.
Adam, who do you got?
Yeah, it's gonna be Bryson at 3 under. He's gonna go in there with 70. It's not gonna be the steady Eddie. It's gonna be more like Xander's steady Eddie. It's gonna be up. It's gonna be down. He's gonna get some birdies. He's gonna probably get some bogeys. But Wolff, I think will fall back a little bit. If Bryson posts a 70, I think that's good enough to win, and he's my pick at 3 under. Who do you got, Kev?
Well, I'm just gonna go with the man Matthew Wolff. Then he shot a 65 today under tough conditions, and he saw his classmate, if you will, Colin Morikawa, win a PGA Championship, his first major and the last major there at Harding Park. And I think Matthew Wolff is eager to keep pace with him, and I think he's gonna take it down tomorrow.
I mean, it's kind of building a narrative there of like no fans. These guys that are in the early 20s can come out with less pressure and win majors. Maybe that's the narrative that we have for 2020.
You know what? There's no doubt that is a benefit to these guys, and they've played in a lot of big tournaments where they felt pressure. This is just another big tournament where they're feeling pressure without the fans there. It's not on the scale that it would be if there was fans just crowding around going ballistic like you could normally expect from a New York crowd. And I think this is a very unique opportunity for these guys to get a notch in their belt early on in their careers. And I think Matthew Wolff's going to do it tomorrow.
I think the fans is a big deal, but it's still Saturday night of a major. I don't think Matthew Wolff is going to sleep that easy tonight.
I think that's probably true.
I also think Bryson won't either. But neither of those guys. I mean, we think about Bryson as a more established guy, and he did. I forget what he was in the PGA, but he was maybe a top 5. But he historically, for how good he is, his major record is not that great. And so,
but you know what? Bryson is a USGA champion with a US amateur.
I was just about to say that. That's right.
And that carries weight. That is a huge tournament to win. And he's shown that he can do that, and he can withstand the pressure to do that. And I think that will give him some confidence tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree that he does have more chops on, and more, more on his resume than Matthew Wolff. But I still think the majors are different. And so knowing you have that major as you come in those last few holes and you need to make things happen. Neither of those guys have done it. And so
then why did you pick Hideki?
Well, I think Louis and Rory are dangerous for that reason, but I don't think it's not one of these ones where we've got Rory at 6 back, but he's only 6 back of one guy, and there's only, aside from Wolff and DeChambeau, -1 is where the pack is, so a single hole could bring Bryson back into the pack, and a string of 3 bad holes could bring Wolff back. So it's if you saw how much the leaderboard moved today, I don't think there's any reason to think any of these things are safe. And that whole group, I think, maybe from Rory up will be where we want to be focusing. But I honestly, I give that whole crowd a pretty good shot at it.
I can't believe we've almost got through this whole podcast and neither of you guys have mentioned your boy Zach Johnson, but I guess we'll just let that lie.
Well, it actually is nice to see Zach Johnson up there. I think we should say. I mean, he was down to barely having a tour card. Barely into the FedEx Cup playoffs a month ago, and yeah.
It warms your heart.
It warms my heart to see.
All right, guys. Well, I think that just about does it then. I'm excited for tomorrow. I know you guys are too. Thank you for listening. We will have a big US Open wrap tomorrow night. Please check out our content at grandstandgolf.com, and we look forward to talking some more golf with you in the future. Take care.
See you guys.
Enjoy Sunday, everyone.